You've tuned in to Stay in Your Lane show. I am your host, the funniest Olympic champ in comedy, Bernard Williams. And right now, we're going to start this show again. World Express. Yes, sports management. Yeah, we had a little hiccup, but we're back. We are back. Daniel's in the building. This show was sponsored by BW Pro Techniques.
Yeah, I
there
was
we
on, and you did the intro, and then it just went out.
You sure you paid the bill, man? Your Wi-Fi all right? All right, cool. Well, look, this is the man, the myth, the legend, owner of World Express Management. This is a professional here, entrepreneur, father, son, and coach as well. And I want y'all to give a warm welcome for my brother, Mark Pryor.
My man. What's up, baby?
Man, I'm good. First and foremost, thank you for giving me your time, because I know you're a busy man and you travel the world.
Anything for you. You know, some people call, they ask you stuff, you don't even think about it. You're like, no problem. So, yeah, dog, I ain't got no problem doing this. Like I said, this is my first one. I don't usually do IG Live. I tune in, I make little comments, I laugh, and I'm out. So hopefully, you know, I can get some people to watch and they learn something, and, you know, your ratings go up or whatever it is, your likes or whatever goes up. So, yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Now, who is Mark Pryor? So, exactly. Who is Mark Pryor?
I'm from New York City. I went to Syracuse, of course. As you can see, I bleed orange, baby. That's going to happen. Hey. You know, we got the love of orange, because you're a Gator. I'm an orange man. So, you know, you know, I'm a true New Yorker. As you can see, I'm sure you can hear the accent. You know, one of the questions was funny because he asked me if I had Timberlands. I got 3 pair of Timberlands. I got a pair of beef and broccolis. I got a pair of chuckers, black chuckers. Gotta have the black chuckers if you're in New York. And of course, I got the high top tan joints that only comes out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, I'm a true New Yorker. So I was born in Harlem. I grew up a little bit in the Bronx. All my family's in Manhattan. I have a lot of family in Alabama, so I kind of, you know, claim both. But most of my formative years was in New York, and then I went to school in the Bronx, Cardinal Spelman High School, shout out, Catholic high school. Same league as Red Autry, who's now the head coach at Syracuse. That's my man. Went to Tollin. So a lot of people played in that Catholic league. You know what I'm saying? We did a lot of good things in New York. So, you know, I'm always happy to, you know, represent NY and let people know where I'm from and all that stuff, because, you know, New York is the best. I mean, come on now.
Right. Like a true New York, spoken like a true New Yorker.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, I take it your background. So, what was your first sport?
Here's the funny thing. I never did sports in high school. My mother wouldn't let me do sports until I took the SAT. And back then, you can only take the SAT as a junior or senior. So I took it May, of course, my junior year. Everybody takes it May. And when I got about a 900, my senior year was coming up. She said, okay, you good, you could go do sports. So, yeah.
Nice.
So,
shouts out to mama.
Yes, sir.
Shouts out to mama. Education.
So I went wild. I went out for the football team. Mind you, back then I was like a buck soaking wet, maybe about 5'8", 5'9". And, you know, I play football out in the street. In New York, you know, we play football on the street. No grass. It's all concrete. You know, so there's no running the ball. Everything is passed. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm nice. I'm going to be a receiver. So I go out for the football team. And, yeah, I'm catching the ball, but I'm slow as dirt. I mean, so the coach comes to me and he says, look, man, you're a nice kid. I like you and all. He says, but you just, you know, you ain't got it. He said, you know, you cool and everything, but you know, you a little light and all stuff. I said, well, coach, I ain't gonna lie to you. I just wanted to be on team to get the uniform and my number. So when they did the pep rally, you know what I'm saying, all the girls and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? That's, you know, that's what I figured out. Wait, my boy played basketball. I knew I wasn't gonna make basketball, but I figured there was enough dudes playing football, you know, that I could play in a team. So we ended up having, you know, in
Right.
football, you do a 60-yard dash, 40-yard dash, and a mile and a half. So the coach, I ran the 40, and my joint was slow. It was like 5 flat. I ain't gonna lie, it was 5 flat. You know, you got big linemen, 6'9", 300 running 5 flat. So the coach was like,
yeah, but this was the first time actually playing sports, though.
So the coach says, look, man, you better run that mile and a half, or you ain't got no shot in hell. So after practice every day, I would run home. And you're talking about 4 or 5 miles, because I'm thinking, you know, that's the only way I'm going to get fast enough to get on this team. And so when the mile and a half came, I came through the mile in like something crazy, like 5 minutes. I ended up running like 7:10 for the mile and a half. So everybody looking at their watch and I lapped the whole team and everything, and everybody's like, yo, this can't be right. And then, you know, they count the laps. Did he run all the laps? And so the football coach went to the track coach and was like, yo, is this right? And the track coach was like, yeah, he said it's 6 laps for a mile and a half. He said, yeah, he ran 6 laps. He said 7:10. So he said, who is this kid? So he comes outside and I'm out there. And everybody, you know, they're like, yeah, he did his thing. And all the kids, you know, they're saying, yeah, he ran it. Because everybody's like, no, he missed a lap. And everybody's like, no, he ran it 6 laps. So the track coach says, look, man, why don't you just come on out for cross country and, you know, we'll see how you do. And I end up running cross country, and I was the best thing on the team, and I'm running fast. And before I knew it, they was like, yo, you're going to run cross country and do indoor and outdoor, and that's it.
Wow. Man, so now did you take that to college?
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what a mile or 2 mile or 8 or a quarter was. All I knew was it was 2 laps, 4 laps, and 8 laps. So whenever I showed up to a track meet, I'm like, Coach, what's today? He said, you got 8 laps. I said, okay. Showed up next week. I said, what we got today? He said, you got 4 laps and 2 laps. I said, okay. And so I would just run and stay with the pack until the bell rang. And when the bell rang, I would take off. So the first 5 races outdoors, I didn't lose. I just kept winning. And so, like I said, I tried out for every team. I had tried out for the baseball team for outdoor season. And the baseball coach said, no, I heard you was real nice in running. You're going to run. And I said, but Coach, I love, now if you're from New York, you love baseball, you love the Yankees. So I'm a big Reggie Jackson fan. I want to be out there. You know, I got my Yankee bat from Yankee Day. You know what I'm saying? I got my glove. I'm ready. And the baseball coach, good guy too. He said, no, man. He said, you need to run so you can get a scholarship. And I said, what's that? And he said, oh, the college will pay you. And I said, really? He said, yeah, because I thought it was only basketball and football that got scholarships in baseball. He said, no. He said they give volleyball scholarship, track scholarships, cheerleading, swimming, you know, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he really helped me, and he taught health. And every day in health, I would come in, and he would talk to me about track and running and schools and all that stuff. So he really helped me out. So I ended up qualifying for the 2 mile at for the city championships, and I ran something crazy. And then a couple of colleges were there. And then at the state meet, I talked to a few colleges, and they were like, yo, we got a scholarship. And I'm not going to lie to you, I signed to Syracuse without a visit. No visit, baby. They sent me. So so this girl in my school who I was sweet on, her brother went to Syracuse. So she said, I think I'm going to go to Syracuse. And she said, wouldn't it be cool if we went? So, you know, dudes, I'm like, yeah. So we was poor, and we got the free fee waivers. You know, remember you can only get 3. So the guidance council was like, all right, here's 3. Make sure you use them wisely. So I used 1 for St. John's, 1 for Syracuse, and 1 for Pittsburgh. Okay. I got accepted, and I really wanted to go to Pittsburgh, but the track coach wasn't having it. Now, moving forward, when we got to the Big East and I was whooping their ass, he was like, yeah, I missed that one. So I got accepted to St. John's, and my mother wanted me to go there, but I really didn't want to stay home. And so, lo and behold, Syracuse sent me an acceptance letter. I contacted the coach, and he was like, yeah, let's go. And that's how I ended up in Syracuse. So I didn't visit. I I only visited like 2 schools, and that was it. When the Syracuse letter came, and when the coach contacted me, I was like, I'm there, and that was it. So,
now 2003, okay, man, when it all went down, national championship. Were you there in Syracuse, or how did that feel when you saw your team win?
All of my buddies that I went to school with, we all were athletes. My main man is DC, Derek Coleman. Okay.
Oh yeah,
he was number 1 draft pick, NBA.
Forward. Well, he was great.
Okay.
Power forward. I was thinking NBA. He was great.
Right.
He was great.
And all American, all that. So that's my man.
Yes.
Me and him together all the time. My 2 brothers that play lacrosse, Keith Owens and Ronnie Dumpson. They was national champs in lacrosse. They played with these 2 guys from Canada, Paul and Gary Gate, the best lacrosse players ever. Okay. My other man from Long Island, Rob Moore, he got picked number 1 in the supplemental draft of the NFL for wide receiver. So my crew was, hefty, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, right. So I had to do something. I remember we all would eat together on Monday, and they whip out the paper, they read the stats. Well, Keith and them had 8 scores, and, DC had 22 points, 8 rebounds. Mark, what'd you do? You know what I'm saying? So it was peer pressure, but that's just the way,
kick some butt.
That's just the way we work.
Kick some butt.
So I've always been tight with Syracuse basketball. Like I said, the head coach now at Syracuse is Red Autry. That's my man from Manhattan. The head women's coach is Felicia Leggett, Jack. She went to school with me. I used to watch her games. We used to play cards and hang out. And so we were all like a family. Yeah. And so I bleed orange. So when we won, in 2003, I wasn't there, but of course I was watching, and I go to games, and the athletic department, they send us stuff, like they send me this retro, Syracuse jacket, and and this year we won the national championship in soccer. I got a soccer jersey. Yeah, dog.
Wow. Shouts out to the soccer team.
2015, we won the NCAA championship in cross country, and I was right there. Right, man.
Now, how did that feel?
Listen, so we got a new coach at Syracuse in I think it was 2000 about 2000, 2001. And he called me. He said, "Yo, we're hosting the Big East Championships, first time ever for cross country." He said, "Would you come up?" He said, "I'll hook you up." So I said, I came up, and we had a good showing. We didn't win, but we had a good showing. And he said, "Mark, I guarantee you, I'm gonna build this program up to national prominence." And I said, "Okay, Coach Fox, if you do that, I guarantee you, I will bring all the alumni back to support, and we will make sure we help out." So every year after that, he qualified, whether it be an individual or a team, for NCAAs, and I would go every year. And so finally in 2013, I think we came in like 5th. And I got on the phone, and I called all the alumni, and I said, "We need to be there because these guys are going to win." I didn't know they were going to win. I had no clue. He had no clue. And so, everybody's giving money. We're flying out to nationals. We got a hotel. We're supporting the team. So we get to 2014, and he calls me. He says, "I just signed a kid out of Canada that's going to win us the national title." And I said, "I've never heard of this kid." He says, "Nobody ever heard of him. He played basketball for 3 years." He says, "I got him on the DL, down low." I said, "Okay." So this kid is a freshman, and he ends up running really well for cross country. So I told everybody, I said, "Hey, they got the pieces. They're ready." So 2015, it was 22 alumni there. We hosted a breakfast. We hosted basically we tailgated at a cross country meet. Never been done before. I contacted the NCAA. I said, "I want to set up a tent and grill and everything right on the course as they run by." And NCAA said, the committee said, "Nobody's ever done it before. We don't see no problem with it as long as you don't run in the way." So we got the tent together. We got the alumni. We were out there early, cross country early in the morning. So we got the chef. They cooking up breakfast. We feeding the officials. And man, the kids ran well. We had 3 guys in the top 10, 3 or 4 guys in the top 10 or top 20. And, the scoreboard, it reads, and it's looking like we got third. So we're like, okay, that's great. We're coming home with a trophy. And then the scoreboard froze, and we're like, and then all of a sudden you start hearing this screaming and yelling, and this guy runs up to me. He says, Syracuse won. And I was like, and we just start hugging and cheering, and all the alumni got to take a picture with the NCAA championship trophy. Everybody held it. We all took pictures. The team came over. We ate with them. We had a good time. It was the best thing ever. To this day, when people ask me, did we plan it? Me, the head coach, Coach Fox, and I, we look at each other and say, yeah, we knew it. We knew it all the time. We planned it.
Yeah, we knew it. So now that we got the March Madness going on, did your bracket get messed up, or how's it looking for you? I know you served.
It's funny, my little brother and I, we usually do a bracket, and I said, well, this year my bracket's gonna be good because Syracuse ain't in it, because I usually pick them to go all the way.
Right. You gotta see living down with your team.
So you see, I got my Syracuse stuff up in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Got that flag.
So I didn't. Syracuse wasn't in it, so I didn't pick them. So I picked Kansas State and UCLA, and Kansas State upset Kentucky, which was a good one. And UCLA still in it. Nobody picked FDU and Florida Atlantic. So of course everybody's bracket is busted, but couple of regions I'm looking good at. So yeah, but I love the upsets though. Cool. You know what I'm saying? I love the upsets. My school ain't in it. I want to see somebody who's never been in it. I'm glad Duke is not in it. I love it. I'm glad they out. Can't stand Duke. I'm sorry. I cannot stand UVA. I'm so glad they lost in the first round. I was watching like, listen, I'm probably one of only 2 people who've been to Furman in South Carolina, and I was like, yes. Hell, I cannot stand UVA. Oh,
I know there's somebody from UVA like,
I'm sorry, dog. I ain't gonna lie, I was a hater for Duke and UVA. Okay? And that's even before we got to the ACC. I couldn't stand UVA, couldn't stand Duke. So they lost so good. But it's good games, though, man. Like I said, Kansas State and Kentucky, they went at it. That little guard who's from New York, by the way, you know what I'm saying? He did his thing. Fairleigh Dickinson, they did their thing. Who else you got? You got a whole lot of schools out there doing their thing, and I love to see that. That's the best thing about March Madness is teams that have never been in it that take advantage of the opportunity to get it. Princeton, gotta love that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knew they were going to win 2 games. Right, come on now.
Princeton.
Nobody.
Right.
They might have got past the first round, but no way they got past second round, and they beat the brakes off of somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Oh, Missouri. Missouri went out the back. Missouri got this kid who was really nice, and they just got trounced, and I was like, come on. So I like that part about the March Madness. That's what I love about it. So I'm definitely watching it, you know what I'm saying? But as a sports agent, I can't bet on sports. So I've never bet on – that's one of the things we can't do. So, yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay. There's certain rules. Absolutely. Now, what motivated you to become a sports
agent? I fell into it because, like I said, my crew at school, they were all professionals. And, when it was time for them to go pro, they really didn't have any guidance. It was just kind of like, hey, these are the guys that have been doing it for years, and these are the guys that you pretty much got to trust. You just see who's okay with you. And even my man Derek Coleman, I remember him, telling me one weekend, I said, D, we going to hang out this weekend? He said, nah, I got to go to New York. I said, what's up? He said, I got to go interview these agents. So I was like, okay. And it was just, it was kind of like he didn't really want to choose anyone, but he had to because, again, to be pro, you got to have an agent. So I was running professionally myself, and I was helping a couple of athletes, and I was working in healthcare when I finished. And so they said, hey, you did such a good job with helping us. What's next? And I said, what you mean, what's next? And they said, well, we trust you. You were an athlete before, and you know how it is. So would you help us? And I was like, okay. And so it was part-time for like the first 1 or 2 years. And then finally, like in 97, 98, I signed a few athletes, and it became a full-time thing. And I've been doing it full-time ever since, you know. So, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
That is fantastic.
My godfather, who was on the board of Nike, Kermit Foster, he's in charge of Nike Atlantic Coast. And so I ran for Nike, like I said, through him. And he told me, he said, you know, Mark, you can probably be an agent. You got a lot more intelligence and smarts than a lot of these other guys out here doing it for years. And I said, well, you know, Kermit, I don't know. He said, trust me when I tell you, you can do this. But what helped, what he saw in me was I was working a real job, like a corporate America job. And he said, if you take what you learn in corporate America and you apply it to this sports agent thing, he said, you'll take off and do well. And sure enough, I've been blessed enough to work with some great athletes. I made some great choices on who, you know, to talk to. And again, my thing was I was going to be the Jerry Maguire of track and field. I didn't want to have 50 clients because you can't give 50 people any attention. Right. So what I wanted to do was have 2 athletes in every event and just go around and support them. And we all go to the same meets together and so forth. And if we got to separate, cool. But that way, everybody feels like they're getting some attention. And that business model worked out really well. And like I said, I was blessed enough to sign some.
It's still working.
You're right. It's still working. You're right.
Still working.
And it's funny because people think being a sports agent is so easy. Like, you know, I've had guys that came into the business and they're gone now. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they say, and they look at me and say, oh, I can do what you do. And I say, okay, fine, no problem. Go ahead and do your thing. But halfway towards the end, they realize, like, yo, man, this thing is hard. And I said, I try to tell you that, but you don't want to listen because all you think is you see me just standing up there when it's behind the scenes and the stuff, the background is support. The athletes need you to handle your business so they can handle their business without worrying about the business of sport, of track. You know, so, yeah.
Nice. Now, what are some of the difficulties in being a sports agent?
I will tell you that
you had to overcome.
There is only about 5 of us in track and field that are black. So that's the first thing, okay? There are no black meet directors, especially not in Europe, okay? So there is nobody that I really can, you know, like how you and I got on and we went like this. There ain't none of that.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm judged, or the way I'm judged, the way I do my job is a lot harsher than everybody else, because, you know, they can pick up the phone and call so-and-so and they talk about this and that and everything's cool. I'm judged by the quality of athletes that I represent and how they do. So let me tell you a story. So I got a guy in Rome, okay, Golden Gallup. You know that, you've been. And so this is the age of social media.
Yes, sir.
And my athlete tweets out, here in Rome, I'm a little tired, but you know, I'll do a little bit tomorrow. I'll give him a little something tomorrow on the track. So the meet director, they follow the athletes on social media. And so I'm downstairs at breakfast, and the meet director comes and says, you get your shit and you get out of the hotel. And I was like, what? I said, what's wrong? What did I do? And he says, your athlete's saying that they're not going to run hard tomorrow. So what do I need you here for? And you and your athlete. And you told me they were ready to run, so you got to go. And I was like, so I had to call my athlete. They come downstairs, and I said, what's up with this? And he says, oh, I said, listen, you can't do that. They paid your way here. You got a lane. I'm here representing you. You gotta do your thing. They expect you to run well. You got to run well. And so, so he had to promise the meet director that I'm going to do all I can to win the next day. You see what I'm saying? So so the meet directors, when the athletes run bad, when my athletes run bad, they don't come to the athletes. They come to me. And now my reputation looks bad because the next time I call them and say, hey, I got something for you, they're like, I don't know. You see? So that's why I had to pick carefully who I work with. Because if I pick the wrong person and they don't represent, or if I pick the athletes that aren't serious, my career is gone. So that's one of the reasons why I always travel with my athletes, why I make sure that I talk to them, that I communicate with them. And if they're not ready, I say, don't go. If you're not ready, don't go. Or if they talk to me about what something is going on, I go and talk to the meet director and say, look, man, this is what's happening. You know, it's that time of the month, so she's not going to run too well. Or, you know, it's kind of cold. She's from the South, so things ain't going to go too well in the cold. So, yes, exactly.
Communicate.
So that was one of the big things that I had to do, but that was something up against. Now, mind you, the other agents, they having a beer and wine with the meet director, so they don't have no problems. If somebody run bad, they laughing about it. Look at this guy. Ha, 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 ha. You know, but I'm held to task on my athletes and what I presented to them and the money that they spent for my athletes. Like it's their last dollar. When the other agents, they got 6 and 7 guys in the meet, and 2 might run well, and the other 5 shit all over the place, and it's no problem. You know? So, so it wasn't easy. I didn't have any mentors or anybody to open a door for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. One of my first athlete, who's like my son, actually is my son. Shout out to my man Joel Brown, head coach of Ohio State. Yes, sir. Joel. Be more.
Yes, be more. That's my brother.
That's why I learned all my be more slang and everything. You know, and so I was coaching Joel since he was in high school, and Joel didn't know I was an agent. Never knew. And so I got him to Ohio State, and when he finished with Ohio State, he said, "What's next?" And I said, "What do you mean, what's next?" He said, "You know, I think I want to do this." And I said, "Okay, Joel, if you want to do this, I will start doing this thing, you know, full time and stuff like that." And so he and I got on the plane, and we went to Europe. Now, mind you, I've been to Europe. I ran at Europe as an athlete.
Okay.
So I took him to Europe. We took this. Listen, we took the train everywhere. We didn't fly. We took the train everywhere.
I know about that. Yes.
So we barnstorming through Belgium and Germany and France and every meet we're going to. And at the end of the summer, I said, "Joel, do you want to do this full time?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, if you're going to do this full time, I'm going to do this full time." And he ended up being my first athlete. And we were together for 12 years. And like I said, he's my son anyway. I coached him in high school. So I always used to come up to Ohio State. Ohio State is my first love because they gave a scholarship to my son. And, you know, Russ Rogers, who I'm still cool with today, he gave me an opportunity. He actually wanted to hire me as a coach. And I said, "Nah, I can't do it." But they showed love to Joel, and they recruited in Maryland. And, you know, Ohio State's been good to me, and I've been good to them. And I'm not going to lie, there's some athletes that run fast, and I'll say, "Hey, look at Ohio State." You know? So it's just been that way that I realized that if I paid that much attention to one athlete or a select group of athletes, it'll pay more dividends than having 50 or 60 people that you really can't deal with. Now, is that a good business model to make money? Maybe not. But again, if you pick the right people, it can work out for you. And so a lot of these other agents, they've never run track before. They just fell into it because, oh, this is the way I make money. And I can take advantage of these athletes. And of course, the meet directors look like me, and the shoe company reps look like me. So, you see what I'm saying? So it's easier for them to slide in. Where I'm kind of I'm looked at as a threat to them because they say, "Well, you used to be an athlete and you kind of look like them." So that's, you know, we don't want to let you in too much because you might kill out what we got going on. You see?
You got to keep fighting the good fight, my brother.
That's it.
Now, what are some of the benefits that you get from being a sports agent?
Well, meeting people like yourself, coming in contact with people like Angelo Taylor. That's my man. I love Angelo. Batman, you know, Bashawn Jackson, Kadivus Robinson, you know, people that I didn't necessarily run against them, but I guess when I was on the way out, you guys were coming up, and so it was great to see that and to see you guys and just, you know, just, hey, I'm here for you. You know, I wasn't your agent all the way through your career, but I helped you, and that same way, hey, if y'all need help, I'm here for you.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
You've always been a person to help. And even though you wasn't my agent at all, you helped me so much. And as far as my transition from track, when my actual agent, you know, I didn't have a good reputation. So my actual agent was basically separating themselves from me.
Yep.
But you was helping me out, you know, and I really want to thank you for that.
No, man, because that's what we're missing. Because what happens is these agents, they take advantage when you're hot and when you're running good. But as soon as things start going downhill, all of a sudden now they don't call you.
Yeah, they don't call you. They don't call you.
All of a sudden now you asking for me when before they were sending you all over the place.
Right.
Now you got to beg, yo, hook me up, put me in. You know. Right. So one of my best friends, Terrence Harrington, I wasn't his agent at first, and I ended up being his agent. And his agent before told him, you should just give it up. It's over. Man. And Terrence said, Mark, I know I can do this. And I said, okay, T, I'm going to help you. And I ended up getting him in a big meet. He qualified for Olympic trials. And he said, man, you never fought for me. I never would have got that time. And I never would have went to Olympic trials. I think it was 2000, what is his last year. Nice. And Terrence was an Olympian. He made the Olympic team in 92 in the 1500.
Nice.
So, yeah, Terrence was my training partner, myself, Terrence, and a guy named Craig Caesar. We trained together in Virginia. And Terrence ran the 15 and the 8. And, you know, I owe a lot to Terrence because he taught me a lot about professional track. But again, you know, I saw what his agent was doing to him. And I was like, wow, I'm going to tell you this story. I'm not going to name the agent, right?
Right.
We go to New York City, and some people will figure this out, but that's okay. And Terrence is running the 1500. And he doesn't make the finals because he fell down. But he didn't fall down because of himself. He got tripped and, you know, he fell down. Okay. So he's in the hotel, and I ain't gonna lie, he's crying. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm in good shape. Now I can't go to Europe and this and that. And his agent is like, look, I'm gonna try to get you back in. I don't know, but that's it. And so Terrence is like, you got any meets for me? I ain't got nothing for you. That's what he said. I don't have nothing for you. Wow. So yeah, and the U.S. Championships was in New York. So, you know, I'm from New York, so I'm trying to, you know, make my man feel better. I'm like, yo, I'm going to take you out. He's like, nah, I'm going to just chill. So we're in the hotel room. The next morning we get up, and the agent says, I appealed and got you back in the race. So we were like, oh, yes, cool. Right?
Yes.
So we're all happy and everything. Go to the meet, go to the race. Terrence Harrington wins the national championship in the 1500. Yes. Yeah, wow. I love that stuff. So it was iconic. If you look it up, they got a picture of him coming across the line. It's one of the best pictures. And as you know, when your boy wins, you know,
we won.
Right.
We won.
Right, we won, right. And you know, and Terrence looks like me, so you know that don't happen often. Right. So we celebrating, we laughing, and Terrence is like, man, I can't believe last night I was crying. I wasn't even in the meet, and now I won. And he's telling the story, and the agent comes up and says, that was a great race. I can't believe you won. I got 9 races for you. So Terrence and I look at each other like, how did that happen? Less than 24 hours ago, you told us you have no races for us.
That's what happened when you win, though. When you win, things open up.
Let me tell you what he did. Because Terrence won, he took one of his people that he had in these 9 races out and slotted Terrence in.
Oh, that's dirty. Somebody got cut.
Yes, sir. Now, they might have got in some other races, but Terrence all of a sudden, as the U.S. champ, had 9 races. And I was like, wow. And it hit me right then and there. I said, this ain't right.
This ain't right.
I said, this ain't right. Come on now. I said, why didn't you work for Terrence beforehand, regardless of what happened at U.S. Championships?
Because he didn't think he could win.
There you go.
He didn't believe in him.
There you go. Yeah. See? Yeah. So he was like, Terrence ain't going to do nothing, and it's all good. And Terrence won, and all of a sudden now he had to scramble. And literally less than 24 hours, he said, I got 9 races for you. And Terrence and I, now mind you, Terrence was happy, but I was like, wait a minute. I said, wow. Right. Okay. So that's how it goes. So that's why I tell some of my clients, listen, you got to show up at U.S. Champs.
That's what the bottom line.
Because European meet directors, they want the U.S. champion.
Right.
So they'll make room and they'll save slots just for the U.S. champion.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you make the team get top 3 in the U.S. or if you're champion, the meet director's like, yes, we want you. Never mind who you are, but yes, we want you.
Right.
So that's why it's so important that athletes, they got to focus on performance. Stop looking for, well, can I get in off of this or that and so forth. No, you got to maximize your opportunities and just the performance.
Absolutely.
You either win or run fast, and that's how you get in. So that opened my eyes big time. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do this right. And so, that was one of the big things. I never told that story.
Oh, man. That's great.
Somebody going to figure it out.
Yeah, but no, that's great. They want to. It's a beautiful ending, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's nothing like seeing somebody, go from nobody believing in them to a champion. And he will always be a champion.
That was 91, and then Terrence ended up making the Olympic team in 92. And then I think he won the national championship again in 95. Terrence wasn't much for the regular season, but when the championship time came, oh man, my brother would show up and he had the best kick in the business. Oh man, it was.
And now I gotta look him up when I get off of here, man.
Oh man, everybody knows Terrence Harrington, baby. Yes, sir.
I've probably seen his face and seen him and be like, okay, that's him.
Yep.
But it's so many stars out there from different decades.
But remember, it's very few of us that run distance.
Right.
So it was myself, Terrence Harrington, Steve Holman.
I remember Steve Holman.
Everybody remember Steve. And then the babyface assassin, my brother, Seneca Lassiter.
Oh, yes. Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man, Seneca Lassiter, baby. Arkansas Razorback in the house.
Yeah. So now, what is your ultimate goal as far as being an agent? What is your ultimate goal?
I've already accomplished it. In 2012, my athlete won the gold medal. That's all I wanted.
Long jumper, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Brittany Reese. Hit that horn.
DeMarco.
You're gonna need to get that. I'm gonna need you to get that on the recorder so you can hit that.
I bet, man. But she not only won the Olympic title, she won a few titles too. She's a world champion.
She's 7-time world champion.
Yes.
7-time world, and nobody really wanted to work with long jumper because long jumpers don't make money. So listen, but she was the first.
Right. So now she's opened the door for other long jumpers.
Exactly. So now it's so funny because I used to be the only agent in the long jump coach's box helping my athlete. Now it's full. Everybody got a long jumper.
Okay.
And when I talked to her, she graduated from Ole Miss. And when I talked to her, I said, honey, I don't have a lot of clients. I promise you I will go to the meets with you. She said, good, because if you ain't going, I ain't going, because I ain't never been out of the country and I don't know what I'm doing. And so what's funny is because we were so tight on the circuit, they called her my wife.
Don't get you in trouble.
So I'm her hubby and she's wifey.
All right.
So whenever people, they say, hey, where's wifey at? Oh, she's in there, she's eating, she's good. We got press conference. When she's doing her thing, they say, where's your hubby? Oh, he's in the stands, he's right there, he's good. And we just, every meeting we went to, every medal she got, I was right there. Every medal.
Man.
And so at the 2012 Olympics in London, she won. And she gave me this hug and she was crying and she said, we did it. And I said, yes, honey, you did it. And I've been good ever since.
See, I wanted to be my agent, but I got too old, man. I got too old, man. I was bad bargaining chips.
Listen, by the time you got to running with me, you was already having a good time on the circuit. I wanted to be like you, but I couldn't.
Right.
I wanted to be like you, but I couldn't.
But you know what? So what motivates you now? Because you've already accomplished your ultimate goal. What motivates you now to work with younger athletes, or is it to do the same thing with them as well?
So yeah, it's do the same thing, but really just help them maneuver through this thing this professional track thing, because it's evolving, and I'm not gonna lie, it's getting worse than when you and I were running. You know what I'm saying? There was so many meets that we could run to make money at, and now the number of meets has minimized so much. And remember how it was remember it was when you were running, it was Golden League.
Yes.
And remember, the prize money was like 25 grand.
Sometimes, maybe 15.
That's right. The highest you can get here is 10 grand. And
so what does?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now wait a minute. Now remember, they had the Golden League, and then they had a lot of other meets in between, and then they had these low class meets.
Yeah, like the B races and the C meets, like the B circuit and the C and stuff like that.
No more B and C.
Like Zagreb was one. I think Zagreb was one.
So Zagreb is still around. It's holding on.
Milan, Torino.
Gone.
Those two. Gone.
Gone. Gone.
Oh,
so basically, what they've done is they've taken out the middle class. It's the rich and it's the dirt poor.
Oh man.
So these athletes, if you're not running super fast, you go into these little meets making $500, $800. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, it's you can't eke out a living anymore. You remember, God bless his soul, he just passed away, Eric Thomas.
Yes, E.T., yes.
400 hurdles.
Yes.
Let me do it right, because I get on my left hand.
I think he got the bronze medal in 2000, the Olympic bronze.
Right. Eric Thomas, every year, used to go to Europe in April and May. Remember that?
I remember
400
that.
hurdles. And
run himself into fitness.
And win every one of them early races in Europe and wear everybody out, because no U.S. person went to Europe before the U.S. championships.
I remember that.
And now he might not make the team, but because he had all the races, he had all that money.
Right.
So he was good. And he would rest up and then go back to Europe and kill it.
He would.
You can't do that no more.
Rest in peace, E.T., man.
My man, I peeped his game, and every time I saw the brother, I was like, respect, because you're doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know that the best 400 hurdlers are in the U.S. You know that you can't beat them head up all the time, so you're going to go to Europe where they're not, and you're going to kill all the Europeans.
Right. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Right. You know, there's some guys that were indoor specialists.
Yes.
And I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can make good money in Europe. Indoors, not in the U.S.
Mike Rogers was one of the best to do it. And he was one of your athletes, too.
Yep, I worked with Mike for a little bit. Listen, you could go to Europe indoors and make a good living. You cannot do that in the U.S. So I used to tell people all the time, don't let anybody shame you out of making money and getting an indoor medal, because they only give 3. So if you got 1, you will always be the world indoor silver medalist, the world indoor gold medalist, the world indoor bronze medalist. Right. When they're out there killing themselves in the U.S., they ain't got nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Europe, there's a lot more opportunities, but not here in the U.S. But now in Europe, they've cut out the middle class meets. It's just low ones. There's very few little class. Remember how Italy used to have that whole circuit?
Yes.
And you basically could live in Italy?
Yeah, basically.
Can't do that no more.
Wow.
They got maybe 3 or 4 meets in Italy. That's it.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
So
it's not.
So what is your favorite place? Like your favorite country to go to?
I gotta say Belgium, because that's where my base was. You know that.
Yeah.
Belgium loves us, baby. Shout out to my people in Rashad and Antwerp. Shout out to the people in Antwerp, Belgium.
Yeah.
Took care of us. We was at the hotel. We could leave your bag. They feed us, give us free beer. It was beautiful. We had a good time.
I got to say Belgium was one of my favorite places, too.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They loved track. They showed up. They showed you love. If you were in a train station, they didn't stare at you. You know, you could ask questions to help you.
Stare at you.
Yeah. You know, some countries.
Hey, man, I'll never forget. We was at the airport, and an athlete of yours, he was Somalian. and he started, talking English. And you said, all right, well, since you speak English, man, don't you start talking English when you're around your friends, all right? I don't want to hear all that yellow shit. Yeah, dog. You speak English. Don't be talking about us, dog. I never forget it, man.
That was my boy from Somali.
Like, since you talk so well.
Yeah, because my boy from Somali, he get around the Africans, he start talking that, and I was like, wait a minute, I can't understand. What's up?
Don't be talking about us, dog. Hey, you went straight New York. You went straight New York. Yeah. All that yellow shit, dog. No, we ain't doing that.
Yeah. You know, I get mad, the accent come out.
Yeah,
you know
it was
saying?
Hilarious, man. So, what advice do you have for young athletes who are trying to be successful sports agents? Like, what advice you got for them?
So I'm asked that question a lot because a lot of kids in college, they think it's a sexy job to do. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm honest with them, and I said, look, you can't do this. Me starting my own business wasn't necessarily a good business model. Okay. But because I had the background in the sport, it enabled me to be successful because I knew what to look for and what not to look for. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you want to be a sports agent, the first thing you need to do is learn the business. So that means you need to pay your dues and just go intern or work under a recognized sports firm. So for instance, a lot of Major League Baseball and NBA teams have community service divisions, and they do communities, you know, recognition, and they do different things with the community and out in the public. And that's what you need to do first, so you can learn the business. While you're in with the firm, you can learn some things from different agents and so forth and so on, and then figure out whether you can do that on your own.
Nice.
I started the other way around. I started from scratch, which again, I don't, you know, advise people to do, but let me tell you why. I was working in corporate America, and I realized that I'm not going to get paid what I'm worth by working for somebody. You only get paid what you're worth when you work for yourself. So from working in healthcare, and I was working for Prudential and Aetna and Humana and you know, all the different companies, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna save. I saved my money, and I took my stock options. I took my 401k, and I started my own business.
Nice.
Right. But you can't do that from the scratch. You can't start a business with zero. And that's what these kids don't understand. You can't be in college and graduate college and say, oh, I'm gonna start my own business. Well, you ain't got no money. You ain't got no
startup. Yeah. Right.
You have to start up. And if you take a loan out, you're in the hole now anyway. You see? Right. So you gotta get some kind of knowledge and some background. And that's what I did by working in healthcare. I learned how to read contracts. I learned how to write contracts. I learned how to negotiate contracts. I learned how to negotiate rates. I learned the difference in percentage rates and things like that. So the healthcare industry taught me a lot that I just applied to sports and the business part of it. And then, of course, when I went to Syracuse, I majored in marketing and sociology, and that helped me along the way. But again, I took all those pieces and I made it successful.
Nice.
Everybody can't do that. You can't go to school and major in, I don't know, basket weaving or whatever it is and say, oh, I want to be a sports agent because, you know, you just like sports or you like basketball, you played or whatever. It doesn't mean that.
You have to study what you have to study what you're trying to become.
Right. And you got to have an eye for talent. You just can't pick anybody. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
My first year as an agent, I ain't gonna lie, I picked these cats, man, and I was like, damn.
Yeah. like relationships. It's like a relationship, you know. There's a lot of women out there we picked, and it's like, I mean, it was good,
like,
but I wish I could pick better.
What was I doing? What was I thinking? You know? So I learned that the hard way the first couple of years. I picked some athletes that, you know, they were good guys, but they just didn't have it.
Right.
So I realized, I said, okay, I have to look at what these meet directors want and try to match their needs.
Okay.
You know,
supply.
So I can't, you know, somebody might be a good person, but I can't take somebody that hasn't run under 50 point in the 400 hurdles for the men. I can't do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can't take a half miler who hasn't run under 147.
Right. Because you won't be able to get any lane.
Exactly.
You won't be able to get lane.
Exactly. You might need an opportunity, but I can't help you. I can't take a girl who hasn't run 22 for the 200. You know, and there's, you know that as a sprinter, there's hundreds of them. Yeah. There's junior colleges where kids, you know, guys are running 21 low, 20-point high. I just can't help you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had to realize that I can't help everybody, and I have to be selective in who I try to help. But again, certain athletes that have it, that showed that potential, that I can see, I'm like, okay, we can work with this. You know?
Okay. Cool. Nowadays they have the NIL going.
Okay.
Can you like shed some light for us as far as have you negotiated any NIL contracts, and how does that process work?
So here is the reality of NIL. Okay. A volleyball player is not going to get an NIL deal. A cross-country runner, listen, a cross-country runner is not necessarily going to get an NIL deal. A wrestler isn't going to get an NIL deal. Okay. Now they could possibly, but it will only be the best volleyball player, or the best wrestler, or the best cross-country runner. You see, because those sports are non-revenue. They're not on TV. There is no benefit to the NIL company or the sponsor to get anything from them because they're not on TV. Volleyball games are not on TV unless you go to the NCAA championships. The wrestling championships aren't on TV unless it's NCAAs. They only they only televise the cross-country NCAA championships. That's it. So there's not enough for a person to say, I'm going to give you $100,000 because they're not going to get nothing out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Because they're not on TV. They're not going to put back.
Exactly. The NIL deals are for football, basketball, I would say baseball too. Again, because those sports are on TV. They're televised.
Generate revenue.
There you go. Right.
So now what about track and field? Because track and field is being televised a lot more in college. Do you think they get NIL deals?
They're trying, but then again, you have to be at a Power 5 school that has their track meets televised. So, for instance, the Pac-12 has their own network. They televise track meets. Okay. So it would behoove me as a sponsor to say, okay, I want to sponsor Bernard Williams because he's at UCLA running 999. You see what I'm saying? Right. I can get something out of that. It makes no difference to me if some guy is at Ohio State running 9.9 because the Big Ten don't have it. But the Big Ten network does have it, but they rarely show track and field. You see what I'm saying? Right. So you got to be at a Power 5 school that televises their events for you to get that attention so that somebody can say, okay, we can help each other out. I can get something out of it as well. Okay. Okay. So the SEC, yes. SEC. What about the Big 12? Yes. The Big 12, yes. The Big 10, and then the ACC. But even the ACC network doesn't show. All that they show is the championship meets. They don't show regular season meets. You see? Right. They show the NCAA championships, but that's on ESPN, but that's only one time. Right. See what I'm saying? Right. The other fallacy that athletes got to understand is that NIL is just national. Track and field is global. Right. So you winning the NCAAs don't mean a damn thing to somebody in Switzerland or in Germany or in Belgium or in England. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So until you win something global, like you run a time that's globally recognized or you win a global medal, now you can try to get an outside sponsorship. But you come into a sponsor saying, oh, I'm national champ in 100, so what? What does that do for me but help you out in the U.S.? Well, there's not a lot of money to make in the U.S. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Only in the area that my business is in. So, yes, a Texas company might do well to sponsor somebody from the University of Texas in track and field, but that's not going to be nothing global. That's not going to be nothing big time. That's not going to be what these people say, oh, we can make millions and all that stuff. So I hate how they make it seem like it's so appealing and it's so broad, but it really isn't. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you got kids out here talking, oh, yeah, I'm going to make some NIL money. Right. Well, then your performance has to be up there for you to get that. And if it's not, then you're just another guy. Now, again, you can get some regional ones, and I think that's an advantage too. You know, so a lot of kids now, I've seen it where they partner with T-shirt companies and they make T-shirts and mugs and hats. And I love that. That's beautiful. That's great. but that's not it. That's technically it's an NIL deal, but that's not making no real money like you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Now, even though collegiate athletes have the NIL deals, are they not able to go over to make European money?
No, they can't.
They can't.
NIL is strictly here in the U.S. Okay. It's governed by the NCAA. Okay. The NCAA has no power in Europe, so they can't let that. No, the international and all the treaties and all that stuff and the trademarks and all that stuff will blow the NCAA out of the water.
Oh, man.
Yep. Okay. So it's only here in the U.S.
Oh, man, you are dropping knowledge, man. These kids are going to love this, man.
Hey.
And adults, too.
Yeah. Just like I said, the main thing is focus on your performance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're that good, the money will find you, the opportunities will come. But, you know, some of these kids who just play ball and they're like, yeah, and they're consumed about the NIL deal. I'm going to tell you, I had one athlete that said, Mark, I'm going to do this social media thing and I'm going to make money. And I said, okay, cool. And so every Tuesday and Thursday, he would get on and he'd go live and he would post and this and that and so forth. And at the end of the summer, I talked to him. I said, how's it going? He said, yo, man, this shit is tiring. He said, I can't do this.
Yeah, it's work.
Yeah, it's work. Every 5 minutes, you got to post something. You got to do this. Because if you don't, you become irrelevant. And then people don't give you that attention. And then you see your followers going like this.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you don't reach, what is it, 10,000 or whatever it is, or 1 million followers, then you don't get monetized.
You don't exist and you don't make money.
So how can you, as an athlete, train, but yet you giving 5 and 6 hours to this social media? It can't happen, man. You know that.
Oh.
I remember when you went from Barton to Florida, and everybody was like, yo, who's this kid? And I was like, oh, that's dude from Baltimore. And I asked the Barton coach, I said, yo, how did he get out of Barton? He said, man, Bernard lived in the weight room. They said, this dude lifted, and he was like, anytime you have free time using the weight room, you lifted, you was in there doing your work because you said, I got to get out.
Right.
If you're doing social media, you're not doing that.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So your time out there trying to get some money that's not coming when you were in the weight room making sure your performance, and that's how you went to Florida and won NCs and ran 10-0 and 9-9 and was on TV and all that good stuff. And I was like, my man, you know, you were so fun. You were so much fun to watch, dog. I love to see you run, man.
Hey, remember when we was in Finland, man, and that dude. I said, man, this dude ugly as shit, man.
South Africa dude.
You said, did you just call him ugly? I said, yes. This guy is ugly. I gotta beat him.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning the race.
Yeah. You was mad as hell.
I said, man, that dude beat me with that ugly face, man.
Well, remember, we stayed in Finland for like 8 days, and there was no darkness.
Yeah, it was just daylight.
It was daylight 24 hours a day. We playing cards. And I said, man, what time is it? I'm getting a little tired. I look at the clock at 6 a.m. We were like, oh.
Yeah, I remember that, man.
We go outside 3 o'clock in the morning to walk, and it looks like it's 12 o'clock noon.
And it'll mess your clock up.
It'll
mess you up big time.
But we had a good time in Finland, though. I had a really good time.
So I got a game called Word Association. Not really a game, but just I throw the word out, and then you let me know, what you think.
Okay.
So we're gonna start right off the bat. All right, Syracuse.
Orange for life.
All right. Relationships.
Choose wisely.
All right. Distance runners.
Underrated.
Contracts.
Highway robbery.
All right.
Special track and field.
Okay.
Because it's so one-sided.
Right.
It's so one-sided, man. It's a shame, but here's what I've been preaching for the last 10 years. Track and field needs a union.
Yes, I agree.
And I remember Carl Lewis because I ran from 85 to 92, and that was Carl Lewis's time. I remember in Europe he was saying one time, if y'all started it, I would join it. But he says, I know y'all ain't gonna start it, and I'm not gonna lose money because of y'all. And that's why he looked out for himself, because he said, I know y'all ain't gonna stick together. And the shoe companies know it too.
Yeah.
So the throw rowers have their own little society, and they got their own things, and the jumpers got their own things, and the distance runners got their own things, and they're making the most money. So they're like, we don't really need your union. We good.
Right.
And the sprinters need a union because there's so many of them, but they going to fight because I want this and that. You see what I'm saying? So the easiest way to conquer somebody is divide and conquer, and to keep them all separate and to keep them uneducated.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So until we get a union where everybody sticks together, and here's the other thing. This is what I told some of the athletes. We were sitting in some country. I said, if y'all got together at the U.S. Olympic trials and waited until all the TV people flew in and all the sponsors and all the hotel rooms were full and everything, and you got to the first day to meet and all the athletes walked in and sat down, I guarantee you that would change the whole sport. Not internationally, but in the U.S. Let me tell you why. The U.S. women's ice hockey team, they were supposed to compete at the World Championships. The flights were booked. The hotels were paid for. The equipment was given out. They went to the airport to get on the flight. Them chicks was like, we ain't going nowhere until you pay us what you paying the guys. They were making like $2,000 a piece. U.S. men's hockey was making like $20,000. Don't quote me on that. It might not be the exact numbers, but you see the disparity.
Right.
They said we need to get paid just like them.
Right.
The women's soccer team, who's won the World Cup the last few years, they were getting paid less than the men, and the men don't even get invited to the World Cup.
So when they did this, did they make a change?
Yes, they did.
Nice.
And now, granted, it was only, I think it was only like 18 of them, so it was easy to band together. But again, they banded together, and they said, we're not going nowhere until you pay us. And so USA Soccer had to negotiate right there in the airport. And they said, okay, we promised to pay y'all, and so forth and so on. And they hashed it out, and they went ahead and played.
Man, so track and field, we got to take notes. We got to take notes.
Yes, we got to get together, man. We got to stop dividing ourselves between the events, and we got to put our pettiness aside and say, hey. So, and again, there's going to be some losses in it. You know, there's some athletes right now making, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, but they got to be able to sacrifice for the good of the sport. That's why so many people doing so bad and making no money. Because everybody that's doing well is like, well,
why should I lose money? Why should I lose money? And you know,
that's what Carl Lewis said. Why should I lose money when y'all ain't gonna stick together? If y'all stick together, I'm with you. See?
Yes. All right. So the next word is benefits.
Fringe. First word that comes.
Right. Yeah, man. So my last question would be, what would be your legacy? Like, what legacy would you like to leave?
I would like to be known as the person that was an advocate for the athletes. I'd like to be known as, like I said, the Jerry Maguire of track and field. You know, it was less clients.
Well, you exceeded that.
That's true.
That. That's
true. I would just like to be known as a good person. You know, like you said in your intro, I'm a father. I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
All 4 of my kids went to college. They're doing well. I'm so proud of them. I've been a coach before, so I've helped athletes get to college and beyond, and just trying to give them a better life. Because, you know, again, if you just graduate with a high school diploma, that's a hard way to live, baby.
Right. You know, absolutely.
I was taught, this old man taught me, he said, these right here can get you somewhere, but only for as far as they work. This right here never stops working. So basically you saying you can do construction work and you can box and you can do all that, but they have a shelf life. After they stop working, what you gonna do? You done. But if you use this to work with, that thing don't never get old. See what I'm saying?
Power of the mind.
So, yeah, right. You got to use your mind more. This comes in handy sometimes too. This, you know, to fix things and so forth and so on. But you got to use this right here. You know. Yeah.
Man, well, thank you, man. This has been a dynamite interview, brother. And plus, it's good to catch up with you too, man. We gotta catch up with each other in reality.
I didn't know that you had uniforms. I saw the little Bernard Williams uniform on your family. I said, look at my man.
I'm working, man.
You branded your family.
Thank you, man.
Listen, if your kids run high school track, make sure they have your uniform.
All right, bet. Well, I've been working. I've been working, man. But you let me know what color headband you want, what color jersey, and I'll send them your way.
Yeah, because hey, I got some athletes that might not have a sponsorship. They'll wear it.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
What? I don't mind sponsoring something. I just got to get my money up. You know what I mean?
Long as when they run fast, you keep hitting that horn.
Ready? the Marco. Yeah, man. But it's been
sound like you're going to drink champ, baby. You gotta hit that. You gotta get that on music so you can hit that.
Hey, man, I'm practicing. I'm low budget right now, so I got to do it with the microphone, like.
Yo, you do it so well. It sounds just like it, baby.
Man, thank you, man. But
anytime,
thank you for giving me your time.
Let me know if you want to talk to one of my athletes. Just let me know. I don't have no problem with it. I'll speak to you.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. And once again, thank you for just giving me your time, for helping me out through my life and through my career. And I just really appreciate you, and I'm glad the world get to see who you are, and and they can learn from this. One
thing I learned, I used to work for the United Way, and there was a guy named Alexis de Tocqueville, and he was a French philosopher, and he said, a man is not truly successful until he helps other people succeed. And if you notice, that's why all these rich people giving money away and trying to help build people up, because they realize all that money ain't helping them be successful or happy. The best feeling in the world you get is when you help somebody succeed. You know it as a coach.
Yes, yeah.
You go
absolutely
to these kids and you pouring into them, and you helping their block work and whatnot, and they go win the state meet and get a scholarship.
Yeah.
You feel 800 times great. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
when the teacher sees those kids walk across the stage with their diploma, and and the kids, they point at the teacher like, that's the best feeling in the world. So I remember that, and I took that to heart. I said, you got to help somebody else succeed. That's when you're truly successful. You can do all the personal stuff yourself. You got gold medals, you know it. Right. But until you help somebody else succeed, it gives you that same feeling.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
That's it. So I'm going to leave you with that, dog.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
All right, baby. Love you, man.
Thanks for coming in here, man. Pause. Coming in here. This is Stay in Your Lane Radio. This is Stay in Your Lane show. All right.
Stay in your lane, baby.
I'm staying in my lane. Don DeMarco. All right, we out.
Later, baby.
Later.
Love.